Minor Schultz con Vida Fabulosa. Would you like to know the three most important aspects to deal with the Ukraine war, the COVID 19, or any other major crisis, and what your business needs to do about it, not just to survive, but to thrive in these moments? Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the Ukraine conflict, how it's bringing most companies to its knees, but most importantly, how your company should handle this crisis. And I am not the right person for it. I am a minor Schultz and exponential entrepreneur, but that's why I invited today Veronica Chiaravelli, because she studied with Mike Berger, the bestseller author of High Stakes Leadership in Turbulent Times. It's a book well known among the corporate people, and it shows entrepreneurs, it shows executives how to manage crisis in a professional way. And for that, I want to I invited today an expert on the subject. I want you to know Veronica Chiaravelli. Uh, how are you, Veronica?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you, Minor, for inviting me to this webinar. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come. Uh,
Perfect.
yeah, my name is Veronica Chiaravalli. I'm based in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm a social entrepreneur, space entrepreneur. I'm the founder and CEO of Emerging Technology Sweden, working with global grand challenges, research, innovation, and executive training.
Perfect.
Uh, so this webinar is to help businesses. We're going to give you some tips, and we're also going to talk about our virtual, live, and interactive training program.
Perfect. So today we're going to be talking again about the Ukraine conflict. Like I say, it brings most companies to his knees. And most importantly, what your company can do about it to handle this crisis. Veronica, you study with Mike Berger on high stakes leadership in turbulent times. Tell us what are the three most important things to deal with in this crisis and any major crisis, right? So that your business can cope, survive, and thrive. We just don't want to survive, even though for some companies right now, that's the only thing they can do, survive. But you are an expert on this, so you can help people and companies not just to survive, but thrive. Tell us about the three main things or three most important things that business should do right now.
Yes. Well, the most important thing is leadership, right? When we have a crisis, we are facing uncertain times. So it's uncertainty and disruption. Companies can be disrupted, systems, everything that we have in place, right? This can happen very fast, like the war in Ukraine that happened one morning. I think it was at 5 a.m. on the 24th of February, and people
Yeah.
did not expect it. They had a different reality outside of their window. Very, very scary, right? That's one thing that happened. And then bombs that were illegal, weapons that were illegal were used, which is another thing that was unexpected.
And, uh,
Uh,
and so, what can business do about it now to
yeah,
handle this
yeah.
crisis?
Exactly. Well, leadership, building these leadership skills is very important in your company. Even if you are the only one in your company, you are a solopreneur, for example, you still need to have these leadership skills. That's number one. Another thing that is important is to understand your stakeholders. What's the value proposition that you have with them? Because when a crisis happens, you're going to have to reach out to them, engage them. You have to communicate about this crisis, right? So PR comes into the picture. For example, we see the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, how he engages with organizations and the TV and the people, and how he built this good relationship with the
Exactly.
population, right?
So, so
And that's
to
three.
summarize this,
No,
leadership, disrupt, and the third one is gonna be
well, that was, build this relationship with the stakeholders. And the third one is that you have to have a plan in place, right, to manage the crisis. And this is what you're going to learn if you come to our online training program. We're going to go through different types of crisis. We're going to go through the tools and the framework that will prepare you for this, because today it's not a question of if there's going to be a crisis, but when. And
yeah.
first it was COVID-19, now it's the war in Ukraine. So it looks like it's the new normal, right?
Exactly. That's what we. That's what all the executive needs to be aware of it, and some of them is still they're not aware of this, Veronica. That they think that this is just gonna go by in a couple weeks or another month, and everything is gonna go back to normal. But you and I know, and hopefully all these smart executives out there, that this is a new world out there. It's a new way to handle things, and also, like you just mentioned it a little bit ago, it's not gonna be the last crisis either. So as a business person, Veronica, how do I prepare myself, my business, for this time of crisis? How do you recommend to entrepreneurs, to executives out there, what is the one thing that they need to do right now?
Well, come to our training program for sure, right? You have to take action. These are very difficult times. We see a lot of things happening on TV, right? Very scary things. But it's important that we stay focused, right? And that we take action. This is super important. That we understand that, yes, there will be changes, right? And changes are scary for people. But it's like COVID-19, for example. People think that we're going to go back to working in the office and everything, but this has changed everything. COVID-19 has disrupted the way we work and the way we study. But then we have to take into consideration the technologies, right? That they are moving very fast. AR, VR, metaverse, right? And this is going to help us a lot.
So,
Uh,
what is the one recommendation that you make to all these executives that they feel lost a little bit? They're confused. This word took us. It came from the left. We didn't see it coming. We knew it was gonna come
yeah.
eventually, but it surprised most of us when it happens. So, what it will be that one thing that you say you need to have to deal with this crisis right now?
You have to have a plan in place. You cannot
Okay.
wait until a crisis appears in order to do the groundwork. You
Okay.
have to know who your stakeholders are. You have to, like, beforehand prepare this plan.
Okay.
It's going to help you move faster in your business. You're going to have to make decisions that are high stake decisions, right? This is why it's called high stakes leadership. And
Okay.
all this is going to help you to navigate through the
Okay.
crisis, right?
What do you believe? We don't have a crystal ball, so nobody can tell the future what's going to happen. But based on your expertise, you are trained for these. What could be the biggest changes that the world is going to see after these uh, major crisis?
Yeah,
What are the biggest changes for the
yeah.
executives, for the entrepreneurs, for the companies out there that feel a little bit confused and lost? What's the biggest changes? What are the biggest changes?
Yeah, well, the biggest changes are, for example, one we see already that the world has come together, right? We see it in the European Union, we see it with the US. So these are challenging times, but the world has come together. And another thing is that most probably there will be new laws, right? Because this is, we see that this is a situation that will require innovation, right? It will require many meetings, uh, communication skills, super important. And so what we see is that this is impacting the space industry, and this is something that we need to take into consideration, that this is a global crisis. It's not just Ukraine, and just because we don't live in Ukraine and Ukraine is far away, it doesn't mean that it doesn't affect us. It's already affecting very far away places, and this is something
Okay.
that we will go through during the training program. You will learn about the global impact, several sectors that are impacted, and but this will also boost
What
conversation,
what
right?
what could be one of those sectors unexpected by people that is already being impacted by this war?
Well, projects in the space industry, for example, have stopped. This has affected ExoMars, and well, some things that Russia was taking care of is now being taken care of by Elon Musk, for example. But we see that the need for data is more important than ever before, right? Data
Exactly.
about what's happening on the battlefield. So this is super important, and let's not forget that the space technologies, I mean, everything that we use today is based on space technology. So what happens in space affects everybody.
Okay. So
Another thing that we see is,
so
for
we can
example,
say that the space industry has been truly affected by this Ukrainian war already, which is something that people don't expect, don't put two and two together. They don't understand the scope of what is going to happen what is happening in the world right now.
yes, but most important of all is how this crisis is going to affect your household and
Okay.
your business. This is super important. I mean, we see that governments are making decisions about energy, and but it's important to understand how in our everyday life this is going to affect us. This is what we're going to do. We're going to raise awareness, right? We're
Okay.
going to go through this, and then most of all, food, right? This is
Okay.
also affecting other industries. Yeah.
Okay. Veronica, what's your vision of the corporate world after the Ukraine war and the pandemic? What's, again, we're just trying to help confuse executives out there, confuse entrepreneurs. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to handle this situation. They don't know if to invest at this moment in their business or just to hold on to their finances. So because they don't know which
Yeah.
way this gonna go, and
Yeah.
nobody knows. So my question to you is, what's your vision of the corporate world after these major crises that we are having?
Yeah, well, the corporate world is being affected as well, right? And this is because of the uncertainty. This is affecting the investors that are making investments, and not only in Russia but also in China. It's also there. Um, well, my advice to them is that well, it's very hard to know how long this war is going to last. We are following up on the developments every day. We can only say that it's complex,
Okay.
because it's this war is moving at an exponential speed. We see that the complexity is growing by the hour, but also by the day. And how this affects the corporations? Well, yes, we see that big companies like McDonald's and other companies that were in Russia, right? I mean, there are companies that have closed, have moved back to the U.S., right? We see that laws are changing in Russia. That the government is trying to keep these big companies there, right? So this is affecting the big corporations, right?
Okay.
But it's also affecting international relations, right? How are we going to
Yeah.
do business today and tomorrow when the world looks like it's split in two parts, right? The
Okay.
world on one side and Russia on the other. So it's like we have been split.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So this
Okay.
is
So
important.
um, so we have this turmoil going on. You
Yeah.
were professional trained to manage and handle and teach people how to handle crises. Tell us a little bit how do you do that? I know you have a workshop. It's a fantastic workshop in leadership, not management, but leadership. Uh, how you call these?
High stakes leadership.
High stakes leadership.
Yeah.
But tell me about, the 1 to 3 things that you guys do in that workshop to help executives
Yes.
cope better with these crises.
Yeah. Well, this is about crisis management, right? So you have to know the tools and the framework. This is super important. We're going to go through discussions. I'm going to raise awareness. I have a lot of research that I have done that I'm bringing to the table. And yeah, we we feel that this is going to bring innovation, right? Business development as well. People are going to get excited. They're going to have to, like, they're going to want to do something, take action.
Okay.
Now, crisis management is very, very particular, right? Now, some things we can do and some things we cannot do. It's not in our power, right? What the governments decide are things that, yeah, we cannot do anything about it. We can just, engage in conversations, talk with other people. But people play a super important role in the world that we live in today. It's not only about the technologies; it's also about the people.
Okay.
So this is something that we have to keep in mind, that we all of us have a very important role to play
Okay.
today and tomorrow. Uh,
Is
yes,
is
yes,
in this workshop that you guys have, your company has, is this an informative workshop? Is it a transformative workshop? Is it a prepare for the next crisis or for this crisis workshop? What type of workshop is the one that you're conducting? And is this in Stockholm, or is it online? What this
well,
program is all
yeah,
about?
this is a virtual, live, and interactive training program. This means that
Okay.
it's not going to be recorded, it's going to be live. We're going to be discussing, right? It's interactive, it's virtual via Zoom. This is what we can tell you. And yes, what type? Well, we're going to be using the methodology accelerated learning, where I will be like repeating some things, asking you and asking you to repeat things. But it's going to be engaging, right? It's not that I'm going to be the only one talking, but we want this engagement.
Okay.
So this is
Who
very
who
important. It's
who?
transformative, yes, because
Okay.
we want to create uh, leaders, very good leaders. We need leadership. Without leadership, we can't go anywhere at all.
Okay.
This is
Who
very
is
important for the
who?
world.
No. Normally, who are the types of people that register in this
Yes.
workshop or training or exactly what is
Yeah.
it? Is for for managers? Is it for directors? Is it for CEOs? What type of people is it? What that register?
Yes.
I'm curious about it.
Well, this online training program is for C-level executives, for example, chief operations officers, chief innovation officers, uh, chief scientists, people that are working in the health industry or with space. This is what we have in mind. Of course, we want to narrow the audience, narrow it down. So this is what we are doing right now. But we welcome you to contact us, give us feedback, say hello, book a discovery call. This is all very interesting.
Okay. So your purpose doing all this, what is it? What drives you doing this type of work, getting into the heart of a crisis and trying to teach people how to handle? How you got into that, and why do you do that?
Well, it's about exponential growth, right? It's about accelerating this exponential growth. This has to go hand in hand with the acceleration that we have due to the technologies, right? We have to move fast. But I also saw during COVID-19 some problems, right? Where these errors or problems were. And it's that people did not understand that we were going through a crisis. So they did not act fast enough. And maybe they did not have a plan for the crisis in place. Then we had problems with communication. I saw when I say we, I say the world, right? I mean, there could have been a better engagement together with the World Health Organization, with WHO.
Okay.
It's super important. So that then there could have been a stronger relationship and a work relationship with scientists. Somehow the scientists would put aside. This was another big error, right? And so these are things that I have seen. Yeah.
That got you into doing this. It's
Uh, yeah.
and
Well,
always
global challenges. It's global challenges that I'm super interested in. It's a global impact challenges, the accelerated technologies, and filling the gaps between these technologies and people. This is what I'm very passionate about.
perfect. And just, we're coming down to the end here. Tell me if you have a magic one uh, for this moment, uh, what would you do on this with this crisis, with this how will you fix it? How, especially the Ukrainian war?
Yeah, well, a speaker at the United Nations gave a very, very important message about this, and it's that it was a one of the members from the United Nations coming from Africa. He went through a similar crisis in his country, and they came to the conclusion that it was best to forget about all the empires and things that happened in the past and just look towards the future and create the future together. And this is the right way to go in reality. We cannot bring the past to the present. It's impossible. But of course, for all this, there has to be an honest commitment to peace, and people have to really value what peace means. It's very important.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Veronica. I highly recommend to the listeners to register to your training program for executives. High stakes leadership with a focus on the war in Ukraine, its global impact, and ripples into the space industry, because that's another passion of yours and an area of expertise. So this workshop, when does it start? When will be the next one? Because to me, as a citizen of the world, I'm very passionate about executives taking these training so they know how to handle crisis better. Most of us are really not prepared. We think that we are, but when it comes down to it, we get all confused. We don't know what the next step is, and that's where the help of experts like you and like Mike Barger and this type of book help us to go a long way to understand and act, taking the right, acting and act to take the right steps. So tell us, when is this workshop, and where people can find you?
Well, this workshop is open now, and we uploaded the brochures on LinkedIn. You can find them there. You can go to my profile, Veronica Chiaravalli. Chiaravalli is my name, and you can go there, and you can see them under the title "Featured." You can see the brochures there. You can contact me at www.exponentialtext.com. And then you can book a discovery call with us for free. There we can give you more information about the workshop. Or you can contact us via LinkedIn, Twitter, right?
And on this screen, we have all this information for you guys to take a screenshot or just pause the video, and then you can write to Veronica at exponentialtext.com, right? That's your email, Veronica, or they can find you. The
That's
LinkedIn
right.
profile is all where this information about you and the training. I keep calling workshop, but you call it training. And the website, the LinkedIn, and your email. Those will be the three main places to find you, to track you down, and for people to register for this workshop, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So maybe you want to give one last advice to not just to executives, but to the people out there in the world. What would be that advice? And with that, we can call it off for today. I know it's very late
Yeah.
in Stockholm. You are physically located right now in Stockholm, or where are you located at?
Yeah, in Stockholm. Yeah, it's in the outskirts of Stockholm. I'm in
Okay.
my home office. Yes.
All right. So,
Well,
uh,
yeah.
what would be that advice to people right now?
Yes. Well, my advice is that that you stay focused, and that you're not online looking at all these war scenes and everything all the time, but that you really focus on the moment, work on your business, work on yourself. This is super important, and that you work with these leadership skills, which are so important.
Okay. Perfect. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know it's very late in Stockholm. We send you greetings from California, and we say hi to all the exponential community out there, the space community out there, and especially right now today to the heroes that are trying to fix this crisis. People like you that are trying to give your best to try to make a much to make a much better world. Thank you so much, Veronica. God
Thank
bless
you,
you. I'll
Minor.
see you next time. Thank you for
Thank
your time.
you. Thank you,
Bye
everybody. Bye bye.
bye. Take care. See you.
Bye.